Before we get into today's case, let me tell you an important story linked to it. Back in the 1930s and 40s, there was a famous stage drama in China called Story of Butterfly. At that time, strict rules from the Communist Party didn't even allow women the right to study. The story was about a young girl who disguised herself as a boy just to get an education. In school, she became friends with a young man, and over time, they fell in love. The catch? The young man didn't know his best friend was actually a woman. He thought they were just two boys hanging out. The story ended tragically, with both characters dying, leaving a lasting impact on Chinese audiences of the time. Fast forward to 1953. The Korean War ends, but it leaves the whole world on edge, fearing World War III. Embassies were closed as countries retreated from China for safety reasons. Nearly 10 years later, in the 1960s, a few embassies reopened, including the French embassy in Beijing. In 1964, a 20-year-old Frenchman named Bernard Boursiquot landed in Beijing to work as an accountant at the French embassy. He had high hopes exploring a new culture, trying new food, and, most importantly, finding a Chinese girl to fall in love with. But life wasn't that easy. China's government had strict rules. Foreigners were treated with suspicion, and relationships were heavily restricted. Bernard felt stuck. Desperate to meet someone, Bernard attended countless embassy parties, hoping to talk to a Chinese girl. Months went by without success. Nobody was interested in him. Then, in December 1964, everything changed. At one such party, Bernard saw Shi Paipu, a 26-year-old opera singer with a striking presence. She captured everyone's attention, and Bernard was immediately drawn to him. Shi and Bernard hit it off instantly. They started spending a lot of time together, with Shi showing Bernard around historical and cultural sites in China. They became inseparable friends. Shi explained that, in their society, girls were considered less valuable than boys. This revelation thrilled Bernardi's dream of falling in love with a Chinese girl had finally come true. The two became romantically involved, but their relationship had boundaries. Shi acted shy, always keeping the lights off during intimate moments and staying under the blanket. Bernard, captivated by Shi's personality, never questioned these peculiarities. Their happiness didn't last long. In April 1965, Bernard's embassy contract ended, and he had to leave China. The couple was heartbroken. 4 years later, Bernard was reassigned to Beijing and rushed to reunite with Shi. Upon finding Shi, Bernard learned they now had a son, who had been hidden in a remote village for safety. However, Bernard's visits didn't go unnoticed. Chinese authorities began monitoring them closely. One day, police entered Shi's home while Bernard was there, questioning his presence. Though Bernard managed to talk his way out, the tension only grew. Later, a man named Kang began visiting Shi's house, claiming to be a government appointee. Kang manipulated Bernard, blackmailing him into passing embassy secrets under the threat of exposing Shi and their child. Years passed, and Bernard smuggled sensitive documents, hoping to reunite his family safely in France. In 1983, Shi and their son finally reached France on a cultural visa. But soon after, French intelligence uncovered Bernard's activities, leading to arrests. During the trial, the truth unraveled. Shi was not a woman, but a man, a Chinese spy. She claimed the child was conceived through artificial insemination using a used condom that left Bernard in shock. To maintain the illusion, Shi claimed to journalists that they always wore a baby doll nightgown and never allowed physical touch during intimacy. Both Bernard and Shi were sentenced to prison. While Bernard's world crumbled, he realized the love of his life had deceived him for 20 years. This betrayal haunted him, leading to multiple suicide attempts after his release. It was a tragic end to a story that mirrored the themes of Story of Butterfly. Tell me your opinions about this case in the comments. I will come and meet you soon with another story.